Species shift.
Right, I've got another wicked guest in front of me. Welcome back to the Stephen Sulley study. I'm here at Woodbury House. I've got Ashley Theophane. Is that how I pronounce it?
Theophane.
Theophane, okay. It's Treasure Theophane.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, brother, and welcome to the podcast.
Love.
We were just talking about social media and the benefit of the social media these days is I hit you up probably a few days ago and then boom, you're in the podcast studio having this conversation with me.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, so you're 41 years of age, I'm 35 years of age, and as I said off air, we both knew life before social media was around.
Yeah.
What's your take on social media now?
As most say, I think it's a gift and a curse. You know, there's loads of great things, like you can get in touch with folks from around the world, but sometimes there's some of us who view someone's life and they see everything that's great, but they don't know the hardship that they had to go through to achieve all of that great stuff. So I think that a lot of kids, they just see, like, sometimes they see these young guys with a lot of money and this and that, and they want it straight away, and they don't understand the grind and the pain that they had to go through to get that. So I think, you know, the bad thing about it is that a lot of kids, you know, they get picked on there as well. If you get into fights and you lost a fight, it's filmed and then it's there, and you know, you're made to look a fool, and then you feel bad. And then sometimes that's how some kids get killed, because they're like, oh, I gotta come back. So there's good stuff and there's bad stuff. As I said, you can reach out to anyone in the world, and you can make some great friends through there. Like, you've never met them, but you just have little chats and that. So it's good things and bad things, but I am very proud that I came from the time when we could go outside and just play outside in the streets. Like, a lot of these kids don't know that, where you could hang outside and just have fun with your friends, and like not being online, like not being on your phone, just enjoying life as a child. And I think a lot of these kids, they don't have that now.
Yeah, I don't think it's something that we can stop in regards to technology. I think it's on this big momentum, and I don't think this force can be stopped. The downside to it, there's an upside, which is business, connecting to people, etc. But the downside is sometimes kids, younger people, don't know how to have a good time without the technology. And it's a bit sad, really, because they get pulled into this virtual world and they're comparing themselves to the Joneses. Oh, I haven't got this, or I haven't got that body, or I should be doing this. Why am I not rich? Why am I not in shape? And that kind of stuff. And that leads to mental health stuff. Being a pro boxer, pro athlete, and being, you know, touring the world and everything else, have you ever seen it affect people's performance because they get sucked too much into the social media aspect of things?
Some of my friends in America, like, before a fight, like, they would switch it off because they didn't want to read anything or like the bad stuff. Because I always remember I was 22 years old, and it's just when like these forums were just out, and then I used to go in there and they would talk about me. Oh, Ashley's not good, he won't do anything, like he's this, he's that. And then I would just read, like, I would just think, as like I was 25 or so, and I think, why are they talking so bad about me and they don't know me? So I was like a young man at that time. But if you're younger than that, if you're a teenager and you're seeing these folks like make fun of you, you know, it's not nice, and it can hamper your, you know, the way that you feel about yourself, like self-hate. So it is a shame, but I don't know. I don't think we can. I just think it's just going to continue to get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. If I can ask a personal question, was there any, so I'm going to challenge the elephant in the room.
Right.
I wasn't going to talk about football, partly because you're a Tottenham fan. I'm only joking. But in football, I've interviewed a lot of footballers. There's a huge amount of racism, but it doesn't seem like that happens too much in boxing because probably no one wants to give it to someone because they're going to get probably bashed up. Yeah. But for some reason, they feel like they can do it in football. What is the worst thing that someone said to you on social media, and how did you deal with it?
My thing is normally to do with my speech. Like, they would say that I'm punch drunk, but that would be the norm. I wouldn't really care if they said that, oh yeah, he can't fight this, that. the punch drunk thing normally gets me mad because I started as a kid before I boxed. So like the start that I have, like it's not because of like the sport.
Boxing, yeah.
So sometimes when I would look at like the comments then and I would read, like he's punch drunk, the way he sounds, blah, blah. And it was nice. It's nice now that a lot of times, a lot of fans know that I've spoke like this from when I at the start. So it hasn't really changed. So they would say, like he's always spoke like this or he's always had a thing. So for me, that would be the thing that annoys me the most is when they say, he's been hit too much in the head, blah, 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 blah. So again, if I was a kid and I was reading these things online, you know what I mean? I would feel very, very sad. So it's not nice. See, even now you can see I'm saying it's not nice. You know what I mean? So especially, and because of the sport, a lot of us retire and we have a slur or whatever. It's a lot of the older guys, they speak very badly. They got a slur and this and that. So because I have my speech thing came before the sport, but again, as you say, a lot of folks nowadays, they're just kind of mean and they just say a lot of stuff that they would not say in your face. So I haven't had the racism thing, but on my side, it would be like the speech thing or that, like he's shit, he's not very good, blah, 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 blah. But again, for me, I learned to have tough skin and just kind of prove people wrong, saying that he's not good, he's not that, he won't do this. So that kind of, so me, I would read up about myself to read the bad things to want to prove them wrong. It would kind of spur me on to prove them wrong.
So it was more like motivate, because some people deal with hatred or any kind of bad comments in different ways. Some people don't want to look at it because if it's not there, it can't affect them. But the other people like you would seek it out to get a bit emotionally charged because of it and then go out there and demonstrate what you can do.
Yeah, me, 100%. I wanted to know, like, so say I would type my name and then search and see what comes up. And then a lot of times, majority of the time, like 99% of the time, it will always be bad. But again, that just made me just train hard to just put in my head to prove them wrong. And I have proved them wrong. A lot of them said I wouldn't be British champion. They said I wouldn't do this, that. I went on to fight for the world belt. I went on to be with Floyd. You know what I mean? So I've done so much stuff that like big guys in the UK turned pro at the same time as me that they didn't go on to achieve. So for me, it's always been great to prove them wrong. So that's kind of been my whole kind of career, like to prove them wrong. Yeah,
powerful stuff.
Yeah.
So most of the time, these people are keyboard warriors. Yeah. They only just type things and they would never ever set foot in a ring and they never say it to your face.
Yeah.
But has there ever been a time here or abroad or whatever where a hater, a troll has come over to you and said something nasty?
What, to my face?
Yeah.
No. I think majority of them, one, they don't have the balls to come up to say it to the person's face. And a lot of times, if you're going to put someone down online, how shitty is your life? Like, even if you don't agree with what someone does, just scroll on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just see so much, even now, you just see, like, they just go at so many celebrities. And I'm just like, how shitty is your life that you want to try to put someone down? Like, majority of the time, people who are achieving things in their life, they don't put people down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I think that's a type of person. If you're willing to put on your phone, say, this, that about someone, I think your life must be very bad for you to want to put someone down. Because I don't know. I just want to raise people up. You know what I mean? Even if there's something I don't agree with, I'll say, I just scroll on. You know what I mean? I don't want to, I just scroll on. So it's nuts the way that folks are like nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You've been a profile, you've been an athlete, you've been a winner.
Yeah.
What's the advice you would give to a younger person who is being trolled or bullied online? How would you get them to deal with that?
That's very hard because
there's two answers, right?
Yeah, no, because some people like me, it would just make them resilient and made them more tougher. But some folks commit suicide because of that. You know what I mean? So for people like that who don't like to read it, you know, because that's what I've seen a lot of celebrities now. They've made it that you can't comment on their page unless, I don't know, you know what I mean? Unless you're a friend of theirs or whatever it is. So I think like sometimes it's just like not to read it or block them. That's one thing that I always, if someone said anything that I did not like, I would just block. So that's what I would tell like kids or young folks. Like if people say anything that you don't like, just to block them. It's pointless to go back and forth. Just block them. Like, and just, as I always say, to surround your folks with friends who are supportive and not friends that like to make fun of you or to put you down.
Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? So let's talk about your childhood, because I want to talk about boxing, your career, your accolades, working with Floyd, your businesses you're probably involved with, traveling the world, etc. Was boxing always your destiny?
From when I was 5 years old, I wanted to box. So that was kind of what I wanted to do from when I was a kid. So that was always the goal. Okay. And was that because you had family or friends around you that influenced your mindset to become a boxer, or was it just watching the likes of Ali, Tyson, these kind of people? So basically, like my dad used to watch all the big fights here in America, and then I forgot, like one day I must have watched one of Mike's fights like with him, and I was just like, wow, this looks so fun. You know what I mean? I was a little kid, like 4 or 5 years old. So I started to watch it more with my dad. You know, I would get up to watch the fights at 3 a.m, whatever it was. And I was just like, yeah, like this looks so much fun. I want to do this. And I must have asked my mum and dad for like 2 years if I could go down to the gym to try this out. My mum was like, nah, she didn't want her son to get hit. And then I think I was like 7 years old. And then my mum said, to take him down to All Stars that was on the Harrow Road that was just by our house. And I went there and I had so much fun. So I liked, as a little kid fan, watching. And then I went to the gym. And I just had so much fun that I was like, yeah, this is what I wanted to do. So from 8 years old, I would kind of just go to the gym with the other kids and just train and, you know, hope to achieve, you know, my goals like just one day.
I know your professional career, which we're going to get onto, but your amateur career, I haven't actually read so much about it. So you said All Stars, yeah?
Yeah, I was at All Stars.
So was that an amateur club?
Yes, I was at All Stars for majority of my career. I left All Stars for like 3 years. I went to Stowe Boys Club. I was at Stowe Boys Club for maybe 3 or 4 years. But I came back to All Stars and I've been there like forever since. So I had majority of my fights at All Stars. It was weird. I was very good and folks thought I could go on to do very well. But I never, in the amateurs, I never could. I'll get to like the AABAs, like the Northwest Divs or whatever it was. And it's like, I would just run into some guy who was just very good on the England team or whatever it was. And then I would lose on points. So, the amateurs didn't really go for me, but it was weird because when I was an amateur, I just wanted to turn pro. So my thing, I didn't really care about the amateurs as well. And as well, I was kind of like at that time in my life, I was on roll doing like bad stuff as a kid. So my aim was always to turn pro, and I didn't really care about the amateur thing because I thought they were corrupt. Like I would go to shows, I would think I won a fight, my team would think we won, but because it was their show, like I would lose. So that went on a lot. I know they're trying to make some changes now, but the amateur game I was not a fan of. So
So being an amateur before you went over to pro, would you say that it shaped and helped your confidence as a young man growing up and going into a professional sport? Like boxing itself, did it as a young man help your confidence?
Oh yeah, the sport was great for me because even when I say this, even when I was like on the roads doing stuff I should not do, like I would be on the block like with my friends, and then I would be like, like it's 5 p.m. now, I gotta go to the gym, and then I would leave everyone, then I would go to the gym. So the sport was kind of, everyone knew like I was the guy that boxed, like from when I was a kid in school, like everyone knew I boxed and this and that. So that was kind of always kind of my goal from kids. So even like my school friends now would know that I wouldn't go out to clubs and stuff because they would be like, yeah, like he's got to train in the morning and stuff. Yeah. So I guess the sport kept me kind of like drilled in, like, and I was kind of good that I had a long-term goal. So the short term of having short-term fun in the club, I kind of stayed away, and I was like, nah. So as well, you kind of know your true friends, because after a while, like, they stopped asking me to go out because they knew that I had to train because I wanted to fight and this and that. So
they respected your mission, basically.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, while everyone was out, like, my friends would come back and say, yeah, we met this girl, we met that girl, we had this fun. I'd be like, oh, cool. So I had to live with my friends, like, having fun in the club, and then me, I was just at home just chilling and stuff, to just go in bed early.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I used to fight for a club called Bromley and Downham.
Okay.
Boys, run by Reg and Richard Foster.
Okay.
I had 10 amateur fights for them. And funny enough, what you said about like being on the road and maybe doing stuff outside of boxing, which wasn't so good, but it's part of being a young man.
Yeah.
When I was doing research, because the club, Bromley and Downham, nearly shut down twice.
Okay.
And on 2 times, I've actually raised money for that club. Once out of my own pocket. And the second one is when I fought for the Queensberry League last time, all my ticket sales went to them.
Okay, nice.
Part of the reason why is because the club is close to my heart. Boxing has done so much for my confidence. I mean, I wouldn't have got into business for myself without boxing. But also, things like, unfortunately, knife crime, gang crime, robbings and that kind of stuff actually happens more when there isn't a youth boxing centre in particular boroughs of London. And I didn't want to see that happen.
Yeah.
Would you say that was true from where you were from? Like, boxing actually kept people off the streets and, you know, made people feel like a bit more like a family?
Yeah, 100%. Like, that's what I would say. We're like, with the sport, like, your friends, your family, like, you make friendships for life. So that's one thing about the sport. Like, say with All Stars, I've been All Stars since the 80s, and I would be in America, but I would always come back to see the club. Even now, I'm still there at the club. So that's one kind of thing I feel like you need a gym in the community. You know what I mean? Because you can't save all kids, but some kids you can save. And those who, you know what I mean, it's like, and Mr. AAK, like who was at the gym, he's helped so many kids. So you could name, like, you can't even name all of them because it's just so much. So it's kind of nice to know that this gym has changed and helped so many lives. So hence now, like, I've retired, hence I'm trying to have my own gym because I would want to do what Mr. AK like done for me to do for so many other kids. So as you say, I think gyms do so much good work for kids, like, and young people, like 100%.
I know you look, I wouldn't normally ask you this question if it was just me and you, because it could come across as quite intrusive, but I'm a podcaster. My job is to ask tough questions.
Go on.
Before boxing, then, you said stuff like outside of boxing that you shouldn't be get up to.
Yeah.
Can you share with me what sort of stuff that was?
Anyone that wants to know, buy Raised by the Hood.
That's your book, yeah?
That's my book, Buy Raised by the Hood. But yeah, it's just doing, you know what I mean? I always remember, I went jail for 6 months. And if I didn't go to jail, I was 19 years old. If I didn't go to jail at that time, like, I came out, I was in there for 6 months, and then I came out and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna stop now. It's just gonna box. So sometimes you need to make mistakes to know, like, you really want to do this, or that life is not really for you. Because I was there for 6 months and I was like, yeah, like, and there was a lot of guys that were going to jail for 10 years around me, and I'm like, yo, like, he's a kid and he's going to jail for so long and that. So I was like, I came out and I was just like, yeah, like, I'm just gonna put everything into the sport and just see how much I can achieve. And so that's basically what it is. So sometimes, as you said, you make mistakes as a young man, and sometimes those mistakes, as long as you learn from those mistakes, you know what I mean, that's what it is.
It's all part of growing up, you know?
Yeah.
If I can ask then,
Go on.
why did you go to jail?
Well, I was found not guilty of I was told not to say before, so I'm not going to say it. But if you buy the book, you can see it in the book. What's in the book?
All right, cool. All right,
I'm not going to say it online. Go on.
Fair enough. Okay, so obviously growing up, become an amateur, and then you turned pro in 2003, right?
Well, again, it was 2002, and it took me like 8 to 9 months to get an opportunity to fight. So again, if you really want something, like sometimes you just have to work. Because we went to all the promoters, and because I didn't win anything as an amateur, a lot of the promoters were like, nah, we don't care about him. Like he can fight our guy. And I even got offered to fight Dawes. Like on my first fight, I think it was his first fight, and they were saying, oh, do you want to fight Dawes? And I was like, and I knew him from the amateurs when he won the ABAs, and I was like, this kid's good. So I was like, I want to fight him, but I would like to fight him for like the British like one day. So it's weird that like, I think 8 years like went by, and then we fought for the British, because I was in America at that time. I was world number 4. And they offered me a fight, and I said, nah, the only person that I'll come back to England for is Dawes, because I remember him from the amateurs, and he's British champion now, so he's someone who I respect, blah, blah, blah. So then I came back home to fight him. So I turned pro in 2003, but it actually took me like 8 to 9 months to get that chance, because no promoter would give me a chance here. So, you know what I mean? It's nuts.
Cool. So you obviously won the British title.
Yeah.
What was that feeling like when you won the British title?
To win the British, like for me, it was great because, like, as I said, I was world number 4. I'd come back England to fight the British, but even when I came back, it was weird. Like all of the fans were saying, oh, like they were going on, like Dawes was supposed to win. Reporters were going on like Dawes was supposed to win. I was like, I'm world number 3. This guy's like 20 in the top 20. How are you thinking that he's gonna beat me? So again, it was like I had to come back to prove people wrong and stuff, because they thought that he was going into me win. Because even Steve Bunce, I have to shout out Steve Bunce, all the way through like the first 6 rounds of the fight, he was like, yeah, Ashley's been in America, but that doesn't really mean much. Like, and he was saying, yeah, he's not throwing enough shots. By like, I think it was the 10th round that I put Dawes down. He said, oh, Ashley's doing great. That work that he done in America is showing. Oh, go on, Ashley. Like, so it's just weird the way that folks would just ride different waves. And I mean, at first you said you did, like, I was in America, I didn't mean much. Then when I put the champion down and it looks like I might win now, like, oh, the sparring he did in America was really good and stuff. So for me, it felt so good because I proved so many people wrong. But then a lot of the fans, they turned against me because I said I only wanted it. I wanted to go back to like the USA like straight afterwards, and they was like, why would you just win the British belt for like one fight and go back to America? Like, America was where all the big fights were. Like, I had fought like so many of like these former world champs and stuff. And I think because I would say like the guys who have fought as British champion, if you're sparring with world champions in the USA and you've beaten some like world ranked guys and stuff, why would you want to come back home to just fight on the domestic scene again? Like it didn't make sense to me, and it doesn't make sense in the scheme of things. Hence, you got Ben now, he's trying to fight these guys in America, and a lot of the fans are saying, "Oh, why don't he fight a domestic guy?" Why am I gonna fight a domestic guy and I'm world ranked? Like, I want to fight. He wants to fight for a belt. Like it doesn't make sense to take that risk. But I think sometimes fans they want to see great fights and they're like, oh, it'll be a good fight. But I got my own goals. Like, my own goals ain't to give you. It's bad to say. It's not to give maybe the fans a great fight for Britain. I'm trying to give fans in the world a great fight. You know what I mean? If Ben, like I'm saying, if Ben was to fight the European champion, no one in the world cares about that fight, just like Britain. If he was to fight the Turkish guy, no one in the world don't care, except for here and the Turkish folks. So like, that's why I can respect the route that Ben is doing now, because he's trying to fight some big boys in the world. Hence, he's going to fight like a former world champion.
Algeria, is it?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I prefer to fight that name, which is known in America and in the world, than fight some folks that's not known out of their community. Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, it's pro boxing and it's a business. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes the fans, they miss that. that it's business first. It's business first all the time.
Do you know what? I wasn't going to talk about this until later on, but funny you should say that. When I've spoken to some people are for it and some people are against it, and I'm referring to like when Mayweather fought Conor McGregor, or then when he fought someone like a Logan Paul.
Yeah.
And people always got something to say, and a lot of the time it's quite like, you know, bitter. It's like they shouldn't be doing that, shouldn't be doing that. Yeah. So, but you have to understand something. This is a business, number one. First. It's about making money, and regardless whether you talk about it's been authentic to boxing or to the sport or not, number one, it's about making money for you and your family. Yeah. Whatever's going to put food on the table.
Well, this is what you see. A lot of the older pros and the older champions, they went broke because they fought for the fans and they wanted to put on great fights for us, which is great for us because we love those great fights. But at the same time, a lot of them, they ended up broke. Yeah. So how can you be a world champion, some big star, and you end up broke? Yeah. So these guys of today, maybe you do, like fans don't respect them as much as the older guys, but at least they can pay their bills as an old man and continue to look after their kids, which is why you do a job in the first place, so you could take care of your family and your kids. Yeah. So I kind of see it. Sometimes it's a shame we don't get to see like great fights. Say like a lot of fans, they wanted to see Ben and Josh. Yeah. That would have been a great fight. It could have gone either way. It would be a great fight. But at the same time, you know what I mean? Some folks, they don't want to take that risk at that stage in their career. And they're just like, we'll wait till we're achieve more and we're both champions and we can fight each other. So I understand it from both views because I've been a fan of the sport and I've done the sport. And I've been with Floyd where I hear the meetings with like the top guys and stuff. And then I see the way the sport is run. And you're like, okay, you know what I mean? So
yeah. But, and also, my comeback to these people, when they're slandering, let's say, boxing or boxers later on, is I'm a Chelsea fan, right? Yeah. And Didier Drogba went off after Chelsea to, I think, China. Okay. And he played a couple of seasons, and he probably would have got 300 grand a week or something crazy. Some madness. But no one criticises really footballers for doing it because they understand it's at the back end of their career and they've got to make as much money as they can because potentially they won't be making any more revenue later on. Done. So why would people criticise a Mayweather or a Tyson coming back to make a cool 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 million? Yeah. And it's an easier way of doing it than going down a different route. I just don't understand that psychology. And it is, again, a business.
See, say there were some fans who even say, why doesn't Floyd like come back and fight Spence? Or why doesn't he come back and fight Canelo? Why am I at 42 years old, whatever age he is, going to come and fight a man who's in his, like, it's not smart. Yeah. So why am I going to do that? At the end of the day, we fought when we fought. He was whatever age it was. And people tend to forget when Floyd fought Canelo, he was past his prime. I don't think he was in his prime. And the week before the fight, he had bad hands. So he still beat Canelo with bad hands. Yeah. So a lot of fans, they just kind of, I think when you're a fan of the sport, you're like, you don't like Floyd. Like you find any real reason why you want him to lose. And because the man has not lost, like now you're like, oh, like he can't be the best ever because like he didn't fight this guy or that guy. At the end of the day, he wanted to call himself the TBE. If you believe that or not, that's cool. But Ali called himself the greatest as well. And many people say it's Ray Robinson. So, you know what I mean? It is
subjective for them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It is what it is. Like my favorite is Roy Jones. But he lost like 9 times. But to me, Roy Jones is the best ever. Like, you know what I mean? He's my favorite of all time. So I think fans, they take it like you're like saying some bad stuff about their mum or something. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I had Mick Conlon on my podcast recently. He was a great guest, and I think he's a great fighter. And I think he's fighting for a world champion.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
In March. I mean, I think he's a legend. Yeah. Then I haven't had this guy on my podcast, but Amir Khan. The reason why I mention these two guys because these are some of the people that jump to my mind when we talk about British or local fighters. Because I know Mick's from Ireland, but they've gone over to America first to establish a foundation, and then they do bits all around the world.
So when did Mick go to America?
He was in America first.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, he was in LA. Yeah, for a while. Oh, so he made his. I think he was fighting over there most of the time. Okay. Obviously, made his pro debut at the Mecca at boxing, which is obviously in New York. Yeah, he walked out with Conor McGregor.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
And obviously, that's how he started his journey. Yeah. Question I got for you, and if I was a pro boxer, and if I could turn back the hands of time, let's just say God said to me, right, you get to take this career, and you're 18 years of age again, or 15 years of age. Yeah. I honestly probably would start in America because I've got my own reasons. Why did you want to establish yourself in America?
So for me, when I went to the USA, it was again from when I was a child. Like I started to watch the sport because I watched these American guys fight. So that's how I became to love this sport. It wasn't through like British fights like Ben and whatever. So I always wanted to fight over there. And then when I was 24 years old, I was like, I think I was 9-1, and I was like, I gotta go there now because like I'm getting older, innit? Like I'm getting older. So I went over to New York, and they just kind of, I went there for a month, and they kind of just showed me love from the start. And where I wasn't getting no press here or no love here, straight away the guys in Gleason's gym was like, yeah, he's good enough to be a world champ. Like this guy, like he's good, blah blah blah. And then I would spar with so many guys. Like I sparred with Juan Guzman, Paulie Malignaggi.
Yeah, Malignaggi.
Yeah, sparred with Raul Frank. So many guys. So again, the thing is, sometimes you have to go where you get shown love in it. And I used to go over there to train and stuff. Dimitri Salita as well. He used to fly me over for camp. So that was the first time that I was doing like real camp, that we would go up in the mountains and stuff. And like, it was just great. I was like, wow, like this is what I want to do. So I was like 26 at the time then. So for me, being 24 to 25 and I'm in America and I'm getting so much love, then I come back home, then I got to fight at York Hall and I don't get no love. Like, why would I want to be here? Like where Frank Warren and these guys ain't showing me no love. But the funny thing was, like, I think Khan, Hatton, they all started to go to the USA like after me. So when I was over there, like Brits wasn't doing camp. Like now Brits go to there like all the time. But when I went, it was just me. Then I think Amir went, then Hatton went. And it was just kind of like us three at the time. So it's nice to see. But it's kind of weird at the same time. Like I was before the trend, so I went over there before a lot of these Brits even wanted to go. Because it's the same thing where you got Kell. I don't want to like throw shade on Kell Brook, but you got guys like Kell Brook who wouldn't leave the UK to go over there. And if he had left the UK, he probably would have achieved more. Like I think his best win is against Sean
Porter, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he was over there from when he won the belt against Sean, he should have stayed going over there and he would have had like a better career instead of trying to get the Khan fight for so many years. Like Khan went over there and he had a great career because he was cool, they make fun, like he lost to this guy, to that guy. But Khan if you look at the stats of who Khan fought, no one in British other than Lennox Lewis has fought the type of guys that Khan fought. You know what I mean? So I just think if you want to box and you're British and you want to be the best you could be, like you should always go over there because you will improve like so much. And I know a lot of the like the coaches here say, like what's wrong with us and this and that. But it's not just the coaches, it's the sparring as well, because everyone from all over the world fly over there to spar, and everyone wants to get their break and be a star. So the sparring there is so intense and you improve like just so much. So for me, if I knew guys and stuff, I would always say to save up your little change to go over to like America to to improve and to be better. And then you will come back here. Because even Ben went over there. I think Ben went over there for like 2 weeks with Hearn for a little bit. And I see that he sparred with a few of these stars there. Like, and I mean, he seemed chuffed because he was over there like that. And again, because when we're over here, I think we're friendly. Like, we're Brits, we're nice and stuff. Like, when you go over there, like, especially being a Brit, if you go over there, the Americans will try to knock you out. Like, so it's like when you spar, it's like a fight. So it prepares you for the real thing. So hence, that's why I think a lot of these young Brits should be going over there more and more and more, because they will improve themselves.
So talk about sparring, something which is quite well known. Well, I certainly know about it. Obviously being a Mayweather fan and watching that whole Mayweather camp. Yeah. Something called the Doghouse.
Yeah.
Did you have your fair share of Doghouse moments?
Yeah, I was cool there. Again, if you read my book, Raised by the Hood. but yeah, like for me, it would be weird if I just came straight from the UK to go over there, then I would have had a shock. But because I had been in New York for 5 to 6 years, like beforehand, I had acclimatized to the way that the Americans were, because they were like that in Gleason's gym as well. But in Mayweather gym,
I've tried at Gleason's.
Yeah, at Mayweather gym, it was more of a show. Like they bang on the thing, and it was just more like all out war. Like, and when everyone would watch, when the sparring was good, like everyone would watch, and it would feel like a fight and stuff. Like you had to be on your A game to spar, and yeah, like some people. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes you see folks that get like knocked out in the gym there. A lot of times they asked for the sparring, like they were like, "Oh, you what? The spar," and then they try to pick on a guy who's better than them, and then it goes pear-shaped. So a lot of the times, the person who gets KO'd in the gym there is the person who tried to start it. They want it to be like all eyes on me, like to get everyone to watch. But 9 times out of 10, it doesn't go well for you like that. So for me, because I was a pro that went over there and a lot of them already knew me, they were respectful and they were respectful of me. But they also were like, yo, like this Ashley guy can fight. Like it was always like, it was like a good spar when I would spar with whoever. And then that's how I got to spar with Floyd, because he heard about this guy that was just going through the gym, just tearing everyone up. And then I got to spar with Floyd. But when I got to spar with Floyd, I didn't want to spar Floyd because I was going to get signed. So I was like, snap, like I'm going to get signed. I don't want to spar Floyd. And then he beat Smith and then he goes like, oh, this guy's shit. Like I don't want to sign him. So when I first was going to spar Floyd, I didn't want to spar Floyd because I had already been signed, and I was like, I just want to stay safe, like just stay safe. But we sparred and it was fun. Like it was fun. Like I sparred him like 5 times in all. Yeah.
I was going to say, what was it like sparring Floyd Mayweather?
Sparring Floyd is like a show in itself. Like everyone's there. Like everyone just bangs on the thing, start barking and stuff. And a lot of guys there, they go within themselves and they get scared, and then that's when they get beat up. But the people who tend to do well are the people that don't let the occasion like get like to them. So with me and Floyd, it always went well. It was fun because he might catch you a shot and he tried to say some shit to you. He tried to smile at you, and then I just be in there just trying to work and stuff. So a lot of times I surprised the guys, and yeah, like I done all right still. So yeah, it was fun. It was like an event, you know what I mean? Because he's in there.
So I'm obviously a big boxing fan. Yeah. I've actually sponsored a few fighters in my time. Bradley Skeet being one of them. Sam Webb, who used to be down Bromley and Downham. And I once went, and I've said this a few times on my podcast, I once went down to the old Haymaker gym to watch Bradley Skeet spar George Groves. Okay. And one thing always...
small.
Mixed race guy, yeah.
He's small.
Yeah. Okay. So George Grove was sparring, I think, 3 or 4 guys back to back, and part of in the mix to help Bradley out. Okay. He was sparring him. All right. And I said, when I left there, I said, I said to people that who knew I went down there to watch the sparring. I said, "You think these guys are great when you see them on TV? Yeah. You should see them when they're in a sparring environment where there's no cameras and they're just flowing. Yeah. It's amazing." Yeah. So the question I want to ask you is: obviously, Floyd Mayweather is an amazing fighter. I mean, for me, he's the best ever. Yeah. How good is he really when you're in a ring with him?
I would say Floyd is very good. Like with him, he was very smart. So I remember once Floyd came up to me and said, "What do I do the best? Like, what do you think is my strength?" And I said that you're smart. Like that's, for me, that was the hardest thing, because he doesn't even have to punch, but he would make you sweat because he just fakes all the time. So you're like, when's he gonna throw? Like you're just trying to fake you all the time. So his movement and if you throw a punch, he'll just try to set you up. So then he gets to see what you do. If I fake and you throw that, and then he just capitulates. Like by the first 2 rounds, he knows your style. So if you watch him in fights as well, he learns your style within the first 2 rounds, and then after that, majority of the time the spar is over. Like he knows everything you're going to do before you do it, and then he just rains on you. So if you make a mistake, you're getting punched in the face. So with Floyd, he was very smart, very quick. And like for me, it was fun, because I would be in the ring and I would look around, see him there, be like, oh snap, I'm in the ring with Floyd Mayweather. So for me, it was always fun. Hence, he always shows me respect in that, because I wasn't one of the ones that would get scared and then just get beat up. Me, I would just be like, just give everything, just give everything, just, you know what I mean, just be on my best. So for me, it was fun, but it was great to be in the ring with him, because at that time he was the best in the world. So just to share the ring with the best in the world and get paid, like you can't go wrong with that.
Well, he's known for his defense, and he's known for not ever really getting hit. Yeah. But did you ever punch Floyd Mayweather in the face?
No. I hit Floyd, but the funny thing is, that's what I used to tell folks. Sometimes watching Floyd spar is better than his fights, because a lot of times he has walls in there. So there would be some fights where I said Floyd was gonna KO the guy, because in sparring he was going to wall. So sometimes it was weird for me. Like in sparring, he would go to wall. Like say like Guerrero fight, I thought he was gonna KO him, because in the sparring every day wall, just go into wall with big guys. Then when he came to the fight, he just float around the ring and box. So I always found it weird how in sparring, Floyd would stand there and fight and just go at it, and then it would come to the fight, then he would just turn and just box and move. And I would be like, how can you be able to do that and you don't get, I'm tired? Because you're not doing that in the gym. So for me, it was always weird, but it just shows how good he is and what he was doing away from the gym as well.
So last question about the relationship between you and Floyd. Yeah. Obviously, Floyd being a great boxer. What was it like, I don't know if you want to call him mentor or coach to you slightly, but what was he like as like a friend, a business affiliate to you outside of the ring? What's he like as a person?
I would say with Floyd, he wanted to help the boxers that wasn't next. When I signed with Floyd, I was the 10th guy signed. And a lot of the team were guys, I don't want to call us rejects, but we were guys who no one wanted to sign us. You had Ishe Smith, no one didn't want to sign him. Badu Jack, no one didn't want to sign him. Like you had J. Leon Love, Mickey Bay. So these were guys who were good, but other promoters didn't want to sign them for whatever thing. And Floyd wanted to help them. He knew a little bit about their life and whatever it is. And he was like, that's what he would say. Not all of you will become world champion, but I hope you to provide for your family. So again, it goes to the point, it's a job at the end of the day. So I would say with Floyd, he tried to advise you and stuff, and a lot of the young ones as well, he liked to advise them. But so he was cool. That's what I'm saying. He was cool. Like if some of them, if they couldn't pay their rent, he would pay their rent. If they didn't have a car, like me, I didn't have a car in the place, he would buy you a car. So he was cool. He would take us out to eat and stuff. So we would go for runs with him. So for someone being a big star the way he was, he wanted his people around him to be okay. You know what I mean? So that's why you see a lot of his team that are around him now, he's retired, were his team that were with him when I was with him like 7 years ago, 8 years ago. So it shows that he wants to make sure his family and friends are okay, and he wants to make sure the community around him are okay. There's no point me being a star and I got all this cash and these big cars when everyone around me is struggling. So that's one thing that I say I respect him for. He wants to make sure the community around him is fine and the friends and family who's around him are fine as well.
So you was British champion.
Yeah.
That's a great achievement.
Yeah.
Obviously you've had 50 wins.
Yeah.
And obviously more fights than that.
Yeah.
As I mentioned to you, one of my favourite build-ups was you against Adrian Broner.
Yeah.
I think part of the reason being is because when I started seeing Adrian Broner come up, he was almost a bit tipped off as kind of the next Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
One, because he was quite a loudmouth and he used to promote himself pretty well and he was quite brash.
Yeah.
But also he had quite a similar sort of style. People call it the Mayweather shell, the Philly shell, the shoulder roll, whatever you want to call it. And he had that kind of style about him. But you've also got a little bit of that as well. So fighting Adrian Broner, headlining in America for the world title. I mean, that's an amazing achievement. What was that like?
For me, it was great fun because I was with Floyd, I was with TMT, and Floyd would back me. Like Floyd basically promoted the fight just like it was him and AB. And like I think AB didn't really know me at the time. He had met me like a few times, but he had never seen me fight. So he was like, who is this guy that Floyd thinks that can beat me? So he wasn't sure like about me. And AB just done what he done, like the loudmouth thing, just talking a lot. And I basically would laugh because it was like, I'd watched you do it for so many years and now you're doing it with me. So for me, there's a lot of guys who said, oh, Ash, I don't know how you can stay calm and stuff. But for me, I'm from here. I was like, as long as you don't touch me, we're good. Like you could say whatever you want. Like I don't care. So for me, it was fun. Like just being able, the build up for me was like maybe the best build up that I've had because it went on for long as well because it was for months because the fight getting pushed back. So for me,
Was it in Vegas?
No, it was in Washington.
Washington, okay. So what was that like?
Washington.
You know, you're obviously a Londoner, yeah. And I feel like I can relate to you because you're a Londoner,
yeah.
And obviously going for the amateurs, and doing your thing, and we're not too far away in our age,
yeah.
But then going to America, being under that, the Mayweather promotions, but then seeing your face in all these big billboards in America, I mean, that must have been quite an overwhelming experience.
Yeah, like it was fun. It was great. It's what you work for. It's a shame I could not win because, you always want to win those fights, innit? Because that is...
Great fight, though.
Yeah, those are like your landmark... Like, you have landmark fights in your career and you would prefer to win those landmark fights. It wasn't meant to be. But yeah, for me, I'm still proud of myself that I got that far. Like, I always remembered... when I'd be on the strip and I'll go for a run and I'd be here like, wow, like I'm living my childhood dream. Like I always wanted to be here and I'm actually here with the best guy in the world, the best guy in the world. So, it proves hard work pays off, but it was great to be there. I would have loved to have won and call myself a world champion, but it is what it is. So
sparring or in a real fight, who is the toughest, hardest person you have fought?
Spence was pretty strong. So Errol Spence was strong. So Errol Spence was very strong. He hit hard. And then I would say fight was Pablo Cesar Cano. That was my first fight with Floyd. And he had bricks in his hand. Like every time I got hit by him, it hurt. So Spence, I would say the sparring that comes to mind now, I would probably say Spence because he was strong as well, and he had just been done. He sparred Floyd, and he was gonna fight that week, so he sparred me like 2 times before he had his fight, and then but I sparred so many guys, so it's kind of hard to just pick one. But Spence comes to mind because Sean Porter was also good as well to spar. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of them.
And being a boxer, quite naturally, what comes with the territory, or being an athlete, is injury. Yeah. What is the worst injury you've experienced?
I would say injuries. I've had like 2 that were pretty bad. I had my finger bone here like come out in the fight, so that hurt. So that hurt for months. And then my shoulder hurt as well. Where I was in camp with Floyd, so that was like annoying as well because you can't throw a jab. So I haven't really had bad ones. So I've been blessed like that. But I've had a few, like my hand and then my shoulder, but nothing that kept me out for too long.
Yeah. You've obviously been around the block as far as fighting's concerned. 50 fights and you won them.
Yeah.
The difference between a good boxer and a fighter, what would you say those characteristics are?
I would say boxers, a lot of them who are good, a lot of them, they get tired. Like they don't do their road work or they don't train as hard because they just rely on their skills. So that's kind of one thing. When I went to the USA, I kind of thought I could box. I was like, yeah, I'm flary, boom, 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 I could jab and that. But them guys were better than me at that. I was like, oh, damn, these guys are good. So I had to adapt my style and become to fight more, to grind them down. So even if you're a guy that fight, I don't say you fight with your face, but even to push the fight, to attack, you still have to have a good defense. Because if you don't have a good defense, you're going to get hit all the time. So you have to bob and weave, you have to block, duck and stuff. You have to have a good jab to get in close to work inside. So I would say both have their strengths, and they say a good boxer, if you have a good jab and that, like it's kind of, that's what you need. But a lot of them Americans, I'll say, a lot of them who can box and they got the silky moves, they don't train as hard because they just believe their skills can take them far. And then you got guys like Sean Porter that train hard and can fight. So it's kind of, it's a tough one.
Bit of a breakdown on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the last part of the podcast, so I just want to ask you a few things. So now you're retired.
Yeah.
You're only 41 years young.
Yes.
So you got so much ahead of you.
I am young.
Obviously making money and building up a profile from boxing. Yeah. Where does life take you now? Obviously you've got your lovely lady, you've got your own brand, you've got a great profile online. I mean, what's next for you? What do you do now?
So for me, it's weird. I like to set myself little goals. So hence last year it was the book I wrote. This year it's kind of been more of trying to push my gym, that I'm trying to get like stuff to do more work with kids. So
that's with your brand there now, yeah? Treasure.
Yes.
Why Treasure?
That's actually my mum's name, my granddad's name. So it's my mum's name, my granddad's name. So I basically use my mum's name and my dad's name and bring it together. So hence you have me. And so hence right now it's just kind of just trying to push my gym and work with more kids. Because as we said, the sport does so much good work for the community. And as I'm retired now, I would like to kind of sit on that path. So that's what I'm kind of doing now, is to work with the young kids.
And it's kind of the same sort of question, but 41 years of age, where do you actually see yourself in 5 or 10 years from now?
5 or 10 years from now, I would like to have a few gyms open and be abroad doing my work there. Go back abroad. I want to go back abroad.
America?
So, I don't really care where, but it's like I left Floyd Mayweather to come back home, to have my world tour, to fight back home. I've done that. I'm doing my gym now, and I want to get some more gyms over and just work with as many kids as I can. And then I want to go abroad again and do it over there as well. So that's right now in my head. That's what I want to do, to just push my gym and just work with kids. That's kind of my mind frame.
Good man. Okay, where can people find you if they want to follow you?
At Ashley Theophane on all platforms.
All right, good stuff. I've got one more question to ask you.
Go on.
So when I got into business for myself, deep down, or should I say, stripping everything away, I'm a salesperson, and sales is very similar to boxing. It's all about mindset.
Yes.
You know, it's about perseverance. It's about the hard work, dedication. It's all that stuff. And I come up with my own slogan, which is this:
Go on.
Be happy, never content.
Okay, that's actually.
So if I were to ask Ashley Theophane, Theophane, I was practicing it badly before this. Ashley Theophane.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
What does be happy, never content mean to you?
Means to me to push yourself to be the best. You know what I mean? Like as I say, you can always achieve a goal, but there's always a new goal. So for me, it's to push yourself, to always be your best and to never give up.
Good man. Thank you very much for your time. If you're enjoying this podcast in this episode, definitely give Ashley a follow.
Right.
You probably do anyway. And please leave a comment and share this. And thank you for your time, brother.
All right, man.
Nice one.
Nice one.